I am delighted to invite to the stage Dr. Jyotsna Suri, Chairperson and Managing Director, Bharat Hotels, and welcome back to the stage Vedika Sood to take this conversation forward.
Good afternoon, everyone. Family businesses have long been the backbone of India's economy. They have built institutions, they've created millions of jobs and contributed enormously to the country's growth. But in today's fast-changing world, the challenge is no longer just preserving a legacy. It's reinventing it while staying true to the values that it was built on. Our next speaker has demonstrated that balancing act over decades of leadership. As Chairperson and Managing Director of Bharat Hotels, Dr. Suri has steered one of India's leading hospitality groups by combining tradition with innovation, embracing change, while never losing sight of the people and values that define great hospitality. Please join me once again in welcoming Dr. Suri. It's great to have you here, Dr. Suri.
Thank you.
I want to start with 2006 in a way. When you took over Bharat Hotels and you were at the helm, I want to understand, how did you decide which aspects of the business were non-negotiable and which weren't?
I just want to put this a little bit in perspective. I was the joint managing director of the company already, and I had been working in that capacity for more than 15 years. In 2006, when I actually became the chairperson and managing director, the things that I was not going to allow anyone to negotiate with were the values, the strong values that were the basics of our company. And what were we going to change? You know, there's an ever-changing, ever-evolving expectation and demand of our customer. So we have to learn how to keep pace with them, and that's where we were, doing a fine balance between the values that we had and to keep pace with the ever-changing demands of our customers.
Great. Now, digital transformation is often spoken about in terms of technology, but is it different in the hospitality sector? Is it more about culture? Is it, more about mindset?
So, our industry is a very people-centric industry. Yeah. It's an industry where people serve people. And while we have to take advantage of AI, technology has been a big, big boon for us. It helps us in collating information about our customers. It helps us in check-in, check-out. But it can never replace a human. And it cannot replace the ethos, the culture, the heritage that this country has. And our industry, as I said to you, is about people serving people. So we have to strike a very fine balance between the two.
If I can just jump in, why is it so different in India when you compare to other countries when it comes to hospitality? Because I remember 2 years ago, I was in Paris and I checked into a hotel. I was assuming, given the luggage that we had, and I had a kid there, someone would help us just lug it to the room, but everything was left to us. There was no conversation, no interaction. Turn to India and you see such warmth when it comes to hospitality. Why is it so different?
Well, it comes from Atithi Devo Bhava. That's the very basics of our culture, where we consider guests to be our God. And it's not necessary that you have to be a hotelier. Even in your own homes, you are taught how to respect a guest. So that's where the difference comes. And that's the cultural difference that we in India have a slight edge over the rest of the world.
When it comes to luxury in hospitality, what has remained timeless according to you?
Is how do you make the guest feel? So luxury has been changing and luxury is redefining. But the one thing that remains constant is that the guest should always feel welcomed. And if the guest is feeling welcomed and appreciated and is being taken care of, that I think is the biggest luxury that we can offer and what the guest can expect from us.
And you just spoke about how hospitality is a people-first business. It always has been. But, with AI coming in and automation becoming more common, how do you ensure technology enhances and doesn't replace the human experience?
No, like I mentioned, it cannot replace. And we have to be able to harness it and to use it to the best of our capabilities, which is what we are all doing. So we're taking advantage of all the elements that help ease up. For example, I mentioned to you that gives us information, data about our customers, likes and dislikes, makes the check-in and check-out much easier. But it is always going to be the human touch, and all the guests prefer that to anything else. I mean, AI can't smile at you, but the human being that is standing there in front of you is the one that actually exudes the warmth.
You have different sorts of clients and customers who come in. You have the young lot, you have the lot that's always been loyal, you have the elderly lot as well. Now, that's a lot of people and a lot of customer expectations.
Right.
And perhaps the challenge would be, how does someone preserve a brand's legacy while ensuring it remains relevant to all these people?
So that's where the data helps us, and we take advantage of the data. Our industry has to continuously stay in touch and keep up with the changing expectations, the demands, the newer generations that keep coming up. But it's not restricted to one generation. Our industry covers right from the very old to the very young. And that's where the human touch comes in. So our aim is to retain those values, to keep those values very, very strong, and at the same time, take good advantage of whatever AI can help us and the information that it gives us, so that we can keep pace with the demands that are coming from the newer generation or the younger generation.
Dr. Suri, some family businesses reinvent themselves, like yours. Some don't manage to do that. They aren't successful in it. They struggle. So my question to you is, what separates those that endure?
So I think family businesses, first of all, I want to sort of clarify this, that we should stop treating this as a family business or a professionally run business. If a family business is run professionally, it is at par with any other professionally run business.
Very well said.
And that is where the endurance comes. So if the basics could be done, or the foundation is done by the family. However, if it is managed professionally, and if we have the right people in the right place, and it is working as a professionally run company would be, that's where the endurance is. And that's what we have done. So we've been able to continuously evolve and change, simply because we are professionally managed right from the top to the bottom.
Dr. Suri, a lot of women are now entering leadership roles in family businesses or in professional lines, as you have called it right now. And if they are interchangeable, then they are. But I want to understand from you, are you seeing a genuine shift when it comes to women leading in the hospitality sector? What has changed and what still needs to be changed?
So there again, I come back to this, whether it's family business or it's professional or institutional or government, I think women have always had a challenge to reach the top leadership roles. So what happens is that the young people come in, and I'll come back to my industry now. So we have a lot of young girls who come in at the entry level. And then comes the time for them to get married and have children. And suddenly they take a back seat. Now their colleagues have probably gone on for 7 years or 8 years, and they get left behind. So when they come back into the race, they've actually lost those 7, 8 years or 5 years, and it becomes difficult for them to get to that point. And therefore, we notice that while there is a big number at that level, but as we begin to grow, we find that at leadership levels, they begin to come down. So we've actually created a very nurturing atmosphere, And we have not allowed a professional girl who's been working with us to lose out on that time. So we give her
How do you do that?
We give flexible working hours to her, and so she's able to continue working while she's at home. And then when she comes back into the fold, she hasn't lost all that time. And I want to tell you that my senior leadership level, I have 50% women working in our organization.
That's fantastic. That's great. That's commendable. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I want to talk about inclusivity as well, because Bharat Hotel stands for inclusivity. It stands for social responsibility. It stands for sustainability. How have these commitments then strengthened Bharat Hotels?
So, inclusion or inclusivity is not a buzzword for us. It's part of our DNA. And also, it's not something that we are striking off as charity. In fact, what we have realized is that when we include people from all backgrounds, from all walks of life, from capabilities or disabilities or gender, etc., we find that we've widened our scope. We get a lot more talented people. And I think what is the biggest asset is loyalty from these people. The loyalty to stay on, they appreciate what they are getting. And therefore, it is actually now, in fact, it always has been, not a charitable way forward, but actually a business model for us. And we find that it has really paid us very well. We have some fabulous people working for us. And like I said, the biggest asset is that loyalty. I also want to tell you that a lot of people in our industry have also followed suit. So it's done its bit by encouraging others to also have this inclusion as part of their DNA, not a box that has to be struck off.
So then would it be right to say doing the right thing always makes business sense, or it doesn't really have to make business sense from what you've just said?
Well, business sense, see, at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, I have to make business sense of what I'm doing. So the aim is always to make sure that you do, the business-wise, it should be viable. But there are times when you take a decision which could be coming from the heart, and it may not. But because you've done the right thing, somewhere down the line, it is going to pay you back. So don't refrain from doing the good thing.
Great. I want to talk about Made in India for a moment as well. What does Made in India mean in luxury hospitality today, ma'am? And how can Indian brands be there globally, out there confidently, but remain unique?
So Made in India, I have to say that we are a very proud Made in India hotel chain. And we continue to remain like that. Not that we didn't start like that. I have to tell you that we did begin by Hilton, Intercontinental and Hilton managing us. We started as a Holiday Inn. But we realized very quickly that I don't think anyone can teach the Indians the art of hospitality. It's inborn in us. So our uniqueness as Made in India remains in the fact that we are deeply rooted in culture, and at the same time, we're completely contemporary in terms of our services, in terms of our product, and what we do get as a uniqueness, as you're asking, what is the uniqueness? The uniqueness is that warmth. The fact that nobody would help you with your bag. It'll never happen here in India. You can
We're
make
spoiled
sure.
here.
And rightfully so. I mean, the guests should be spoiled. So I think the uniqueness of being an Indian hospitality brand is that human warmth that we exude over and above. Perhaps there are many large chains which are huge and have huge number of rooms. We may not have that kind of inventory, but we certainly have more satisfaction.
A word on startups. When we talk about startups, they usually dominate headlines. But when you talk about family businesses, they continue to generate millions of jobs and drive long-term economic growth. I want to understand from you, why do you believe they will remain central to India's growth story over the next decade?
The startups or the legacy business?
The legacy business.
So, the legacy business was also a startup when it started. Nobody comes in, as a legacy business. So today, if somebody is a startup, 10 years down the line will become a legacy business. And, with Indians, we're entrepreneurial by nature. We will make it happen. So what we need are startups, which we are very happy about, because there's a lot of nurturing that is happening with startup. And these startups, if they continue and they get nurtured, they will become legacy businesses. When it comes to us, we were also a startup 40 years ago. My husband was an automobile engineer, forayed into hospitality 45 years ago, and then the legacy got built. So the legacy happens because of the startup. So we need the startups, and we need the legacy business, because you are so right that the job creation that happens because of these businesses. Yes, startups are more spoken about, but that's fine. We were also a startup at one point.
Last two questions. Many entrepreneurs are building first or second generation businesses. Now, looking back at your own journey, ma'am, what lessons would you share with an MSME aspiring to be a global brand?
Well, my advice is that please believe in yourself. Do not underestimate your own power. The fact that you are an SME today or an MSME today, you've already taken the first step, and you've established yourself. Now, believe in yourself and keep going forward, because nothing is stopping you from becoming a global brand. I firmly believe in that.
All right. Now, every leader faces a defining moment. I want to understand what that defining moment was for you. When was it? And what was the biggest lesson you learned in leadership from it?
So the most defining moment for me was in the year 2008, when I dedicated all the hotels to my late husband, LaLiT. Now, prior to that, we were not managing our own hotel. We were connected with Holiday Inn, with Intercontinental, with Hilton. And they come with a big brand with them, and they also come with a network of booking. Now, I broke all of that, and I decided that I was going to be independent. A lot of people in the industry thought I was not doing the right thing, but I never had a minute's or a moment's regret. For me, that was the most defining moment, when we established ourselves as a homegrown, as an Indian brand, and I'm really proud of that.
And what did it teach you about leadership?
It taught me that if the leader believes in himself, and I'm coming back to the point I made earlier, I believed in what I was doing. I was so confident that I was doing the right thing, and because of my belief in what I was doing, it emanated down. So leadership really comes with the fact that you have to be confident in doing what you are doing, and knowing that you're doing it correctly. Your team will follow very happily and make sure that you are a success, because a leader is only as good as his or her team is.
On that very positive note, thank you so much, Dr. Suri. Thank you for sharing your remarkable journey and insights with us today.
Thank you so much, Vedika, for having me here. I appreciate this completely.
Thank you.